in and I was ready, I would run into the people that would come to the open house or people from my time. They're like, oh, we didn't know you do that. And then one way that I do it at the gym is whenever someone asks me what I'm doing, even if I'm not, I always say, oh, I'm going to my second job. I'm going to, I'm going to show houses, or I'm going to, just so they know. And so now everyone knows I do that. So it's starting to trickle in where I'm mixing the two.
And how do you find
How the market is? I say, well, they obviously know the market's, the inventory is low, but it's kind of the same thing we do here with just telling them that I've been very fortunate that inventory is really low. I really help buyers find houses. And it's because I'm relentless, and they know my personality. They know how relentless I am so that's been a big part. And then like interest rate flow, that kind of stuff.
all the stuff we talk about?
Yeah, the things we talk about in the meetings, but I honestly don't go a lot into it because it's kind of like quick passing. But then they know who I am and they know what I do. So
What's relentless mean?
well, okay, so relentless is my daughter had an MRI at 11 o'clock today, and I show up for the MRI and they tell me, I'm sorry, insurance hasn't approved it. And I was just like, and she's had to get out of school and I've made arrangements. And so I said, well, this isn't okay. Like, who can I call? And I, for 2 hours, got in the waiting room and I got in touch with United Healthcare and I got in touch with the doctor's offices, and they all were giving a runaround of blaming other people. And I did not let it go. And I was very nice. I was very respectful, but my daughter's in the MRI right now. So I don't just take no for an answer and just walk out.
And just as important is you have figured out a great way to express that personality trait to your prospects.
Mhm.
And therefore they could probably make a laundry list of, oh, I don't know if I should work with Stephanie. She's got this other job, blah, blah, blah. But when they know the way you behave, they don't question that stuff.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, and I think one of the biggest things for me is I actually care. I really care. Like, I care to have a good experience for every client, whether it's training or real estate. And they know I won't stop until I get it done. So that may sometimes be staying. I get up at 3:30 every morning. That may be staying up till 11:30, 12 o'clock if I have to. But I won't let it fall through the cracks. And a huge thing for me is communication. And just like as soon as I knew I may be late for this meeting, I texted Bill.
Yep.
And I communicated, okay, I'm leaving, I'm on my way. And time is a big thing to me. I don't like being late anywhere. So that was kind of hard.
One thing I always admired working together last year was you were great at preparation. You were great at preparation. You were great at time management, and you knew that a certain amount of stuff had to get done and spend your minutes because you had a lot of stuff going on, right? With being a mother and having another job, and you are committed to not wasting time. What do you think some of the most successful habits you've I don't want to imply that you built them after you got into real estate. You've probably had them your whole life, but what do you think some of the most important traits that you have? How are you using those to excel in real estate? Yeah.
So being on time, I think.
Trying to spit it out.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah,
so being on time has been my thing, and that's what I've told my kids from when they were little bitty. I would always say, when you show up early, you're on time. When you show up on time, you're late. And when you show up late, it's unacceptable. And that's been one of the big things for me is if I say I'm going to be somewhere, I'm there. Like, I don't have clients waiting on me. So that's been helpful for time management of just, I'm a very organized person. Like I like a paper calendar though. I always have a paper calendar that has everything written out, what I like to do. What has helped me for real estate? I think just like being personable. Like, and I always acknowledge people when I pass. Like and I think I'm approachable. People come up to me and ask me questions. Has helped me in real estate.
Just about to ask that exact same
How
question.
do you do that? That's what, like, I mean, I know you said you got the first couple of clients. How have you done it since? I mean, being that you're working full time.
You know, it's I don't know, it's interesting how it kind of comes to you. It seems like it comes in groups. Like, so I was working with so I really want to farm my neighborhood and be the agent in my neighborhood. So I spent a lot of time, especially when I was when we weren't really, I was investigating and figuring out who all the people are in my neighborhood and their addresses. And that was kind of hard to get because my neighborhood's not in Greenland. You can't just pull it up and it doesn't come up. So
Why not?
I don't know. I would love to know, but it's not.
I would call it the
Yeah, so my neighborhood's not there. Say that again? No, it's 22 years old. But
Have a lot of
it has 107, 105. Yeah, so that's been irritating. So what I did was to get over that is I became the president of the HOA. So now I have the whole directory. So so I was telling like, so one of my roadblocks was my neighborhood's not in Remine. It's hard to find. And we've used mine as a sample. So a way that I got around that was I just became the president of the HOA so I could get the whole directory.
Great, so no one else is targeting your neighborhood.
Yeah. So and then what I did was, so I was like, okay, half my neighborhood's tenants and half are homeowners. Like, so it's 50-50 of renters. So I want the renters information too. So I created a private Facebook group. And in order to get into the group,
Well, you need their information.
I asked, are you an owner or a tenant? And then I wanted their name. And so they have to fill this out and then they have to abide by the rules. I have 4 rules about being courteous and no politics and that kind of stuff. So now I have a huge list of tenants. So my goal right now is to bring value to them. So honestly, most of them don't know I'm a realtor right now, but I had an end of the season. I just became HOA president in August. So this is pretty new. So I had a DJ come and we had a pool party and I'm the person that's giving all this value to them right now. So they're going to find out more about me, but right now I'm just giving them.
There's very subtle ways to share that type of stuff. Some groups have like, hey, well, every Monday you get an opportunity to post about what you do professionally or something like that.
That's great.
But there's also things where you could say when somebody says like, hey, insurance agent nearby, you're like, oh, my clients usually, I usually recommend so-and-so to my clients. And then they might say, clients, let me dig a little bit further.
Buyers and sellers.
Yeah,
Right.
That's a great way to do it. But like
You violated the rule that we probably talked about many years ago,
what was
2 years
that?
ago, which
Not
is,
to be president?
yeah, you volunteer for the HOA. Those people are there. Everyone smiles around those people. But if you become president, everyone complains to that person.
It's okay. I can handle it. But like, okay, so like when this whole COVID thing happened and toilet paper was a shortage, do you remember that one? So I was brand new. Like I literally had just started, I had no clients and I was like, okay, what can I do? So I went to Sam's and I stood in this line all the way. I was waiting for a meeting for y'all. I was wrapped around the whole building and I bought individual toilet paper and I put my business card on it in a little note that said, let's roll through this together. You have no idea how many people have come to me and said, oh my gosh, like I needed that toilet paper. And like the lady that it's really crazy, but like the lady that owns, it's a jazz place right on Old Milton Parkway. What is the name of it? I just went blank. But she came up to me and she said, that was so nice that you did that she said, I would love for you and your partner to come compliments of us to spend the evening at our jazz. They have like a concert hall that they do. So it's like that meant something to everyone. So just doing those little things. So like when I created the Facebook page for the neighborhood, instead of just like creating a Facebook page, I went to all my favorite restaurants and got gift cards. So I made a flyer because I wanted the tenants to know about this. If it's just mailed, they may not get it. So I put it on each door, like in a little plastic bag. And it said, if you join by and it had a date. It was at the end of a certain date. You were entered in for these gift cards. And so it's like a Chinese restaurant, pizza, Mexican, barbecue. And so they were excited. And so I announced it on the Facebook. So I got them for free. I got all these gift cards and now all the neighbors. And then I wrote a little note to each one, congratulations, and I hand delivered each gift card. And I told them I was an agent, so those people know. So I called them and said, I'm new on the board and I want to create a private Facebook page. And I said, if you give me a gift card, in return, I'll put your business on the flyer and I'll also put your business on our Facebook page. And so it was free for us and they get advertisement. And some of them only gave a $25 gift card. Some gave 150. I did $25 increments because I figured $25 you could, at least it could go to a pizza or Chinese or.
It's just, you're just giving value. It's just
Mhm.
more and more value. And it could be anything from, hey, you're new to town. Here's the, a popular orthodontist, or, hey, here's the company that can, cut your grass or whatever. It could be anything. I would have such a hard time like resisting saying that I was a realtor. Congratulations on resisting.
I did,
Tough.
and I like at the pool party when I would go from person to person and I would talk to them, it would come up for some of them. And I was very intentional when I said I was, but I didn't want to just
Do
blast.
you want to exercise or do you want to move?
Right.
Well, and that's okay, so funny story is one of the agents from another firm I was working with, and it was funny because I get up at 3:30 in the morning. So I look at what the homes come on the market. When I asked to see a house, I requested that time. So like I'm one of the first ones when it just comes on. Like I pick the spot, and one of the agents said he had a question about an offer that we put in, and he said, what time do you wake up? Or no, he said, when you wake up, please email me, because he had a question about our offer. So at 3:30 in the morning, I send him an email and it says, I'm up. And I was like, I'm available till 5 a.m. because at 5 I had to start training. And so I said, I'm available till 5 and then I'm available after. And it was the time that I was available. So he calls me at 4 a.m. and he said, I have never called another agent at 4 a.m. And he actually really, like, he liked working with me. He tried to get me to come to his firm, which I'm a very loyal person. And I said, no, I'm not interested. And so he said, well, please just I want you to meet with one of our top people. It was Atlanta Fine Homes. So nice company. He asked me to meet with her and I was like, well, I'll meet with her, but I'm not doing anything. So I met with her. Well, I turned her down and said, no, thank you. I appreciate it, but I'm not interested. Well, now she's my client for for training.
Right.
2 months later, she called and she said, could I train with you? So now I have her as a client. So it's funny how, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I really like Peggy, so I'm not interested, but it's just funny how I've been very fortunate, I think. And as much as people say, oh my gosh, like you need to get rid of your other job, like that's not worth it. For me, I see it as one is I'm almost think of training as serving, even though I'm getting some money, but I love doing it. I mean, I love watching people's lives change. I mean, these people's lives change, like they're off medications, like off all their medications. I mean, it's a big deal. So for me, I'm not giving that up. I may go part-time sometime, but I just can't give that up completely. And it goes hand in hand, I think. So I think I have a little bit of an extra boost just because I'm surrounded by so many people, and they know me. So I see them out and about.
Right.
What time do you go to bed?
I try to stop looking at my phone at 9:30. So really 9 o'clock is when I want to stop, but 9:30 is like when like last night I was at 9:30, I was tired, but I had trained 9 clients back to back. And 5 of those clients were classes, which were 12 to 14 people. So it was 60 something people yesterday I trained. My daughter blew her tire of her car. So I had to call AAA. I had to go to Discount Tire. I had a meeting with a coach. I have a coach with my books, and I can, if you want me to share that, I can. But
Coach with your book? I don't know what you're
do you
talking
know
about.
about my book that I thought I told you about?
Oh,
that
that was a long time ago. I
it
didn't
was.
know.
And so I haven't met with these people. And I honestly,
What's that book?
oh, this book.
I
Oh,
like-
have you
I like
read
it.
it?
I have not read this one,
Yeah.
but have you guys
No, right.
read her other book? her other books?
I didn't even know, yeah, I didn't even know that
Michelle
had that.
or Meg Robbins?
It's Mel.
Mel Robbins.
Mel
sorry.
Robbins. So she's and one thing I do so I have a ritual, like every morning when I wake up, first thing I do is I get a cup of coffee and I listen to a motivational speech. And I've done that. I did that when,
Yep.
and we would share some of our speeches, but I listen, that just puts me in the right mindset for the day. And so I don't check my email. I don't do any of that first. It's hard to, because first thing I want to do is grab my phone, but I don't. I drink my coffee and I listen to some sort of, whether it's, Tony Robbins is okay. Like I listen to all different things. Steve Harvey's really cool. I listen to Oprah. And so I just like to listen to something for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And then I check my email and figure out, get ready for the day. But
Yeah, you were.
so I did this little, I wanted to do something different and I couldn't figure out, like, I wanted to do something I didn't know. And I didn't feel like I was an expert in real estate because I was brand new and I didn't sell anything. So it's hard for me to try to pretend to be something I'm not. So I thought, what could I do to make myself feel more like an expert? So I had joined this little thing that I have books on selling, buying. It's a Thorified. And then and since I went through a divorce and I feel like I can relate to that, I have a divorce book too. And basically I have my testimonials in there. You can put your biography in there. All of my stuff's in there. And so instead of just saying I'm a real estate agent, instead of giving a business card, I give them a book.
What's the cost on all that?
I joined last year in December because I figured I could write it off. It was like $900 and something for the year. And I wound up being relentless of asking for more books than they offered. And so I wound up getting, I don't know, 50, 60 books for that. And it comes with coaching and templates and all these things. The coaching's really what the coach was yesterday. It wasn't even coaching. They share the screen and they help me like put stuff on Facebook or like make a landing page. So they're kind of like walking me through it. It's more of a technical.
Yeah.
Like it's not like a coach, like where they're
It's not. Well,
it's not the same as what you did. It's
Right.
just like they're like, and I'm not good at looking at Facebook and trying to figure that stuff out. So so I did that. I can't say that this has helped me much, except I'm about to list a house that's a divorced couple. I knew them from years and years ago, haven't talked to them in years. And the wife knew I went through a divorce. They were going through a divorce and she called me like a year ago and asked who my attorney was. And I told her, and she said she was staying in the house. And I said, okay, like good luck. And then she called me a couple months ago and said, we've decided to sell the house. I would love for you, but my husband has another agent he would like to use. And I said, well, let me come to your house. And so I went to the house with 2 of these books. And on it, like at the end of our thing, I said, hey, I have a book. And I don't necessarily say like it's my book, because even though technically I have the permission because I'm part of the group, but I just said, oh, I have a book that will help you. And I gave him each a copy. He's like, this isn't just a book, this is your book. Like, and that's how I won the listing, is because he felt like I was an expert because I have a book under.
Well,
so
it's definitely paying up.
And it'll be a $600,000 house that will in Milton. It's a ranch on an acre. It'll sell really fast as soon as we get it listed. So
you can choose different covers and they have different content, but it's all template as content.
Yeah. You change anything in the book you want, and so that's been good. So this was, and Bill's wife took this picture.
I was
You
going to
remember
say,
that?
very great,
Yeah.
great photography.
So anyway, and that's like, I created that page. So like no other book looks like that because I put the house on there and that. And then this is more of a generic one. And I just took my picture and put it, and, your name's on it, your information's on the back. I mean, so that helped me feel like an expert, if that makes sense. But I mean, so anyway, so I did that, and hopefully the divorce one I need to go for. I found all these books.
Is their pitch is basically like Facebook ads that are going to funnel people in for a consultation of some sort, where you can use this as kind of like the carrot, if you will.
They say you should
haven't
use
done that?
this. No, and I've been
Okay.
terrible at it. So I said, I don't know if I'm gonna renew. So I said I need to really get my act together for this next month.
You know, market or whatever, right?
I see.
One thing that's kind of interesting that I find is a lot of dual career agents, their intention, if they had enough money to quit their other job and to be a realtor, they would have done it already. So oftentimes it's generally around money, but for you, you're a different story altogether. So you get fulfillment from that. You enjoy it. It's in some ways it's like forced lead generation, right? They work in tandem together. So like, what's your trajectory look like? Like, where do you see yourself in terms of, a year or 2 or 3 years from now?
Yeah.
Hey,
So I would
want to give you guys some inspiration.
Yeah, so I would like to have, so I said from the beginning, I said I wanted to have 6 figures saved in my real estate account after taxes and all, before I even consider going part-time. I'm at 78,000. And yesterday, so speaking of like mixing real estate with training, yesterday, one of my clients says, okay, my parents have finally decided they're gonna move here. Here's their email addresses. So I contacted them. So that will probably be a home that I help them find. So that,
Should be close to 100,000, right?
and then I have a listing that's coming up that I've already done pictures and staging. The divorced couple was supposed to list it several months back, and they were 40% and 50%. She wanted 60 and 40, him to have 40% of the house. He wants 50-50. They've spent way over that on attorney's fees that I warned them, but they need to work that out. So anyway, they're signing papers this week, so it'll probably get listed next week. It's ready. Everything's ready to go. So I'm very close to the 100,000 mark. And now I'm like, oh, I'm not ready to go part-time. So it's a tough one. I wish I could be in more of these classes, that's what I don't get. Yeah. I don't get to do some of the training. That'd be fine. Like, I really wish I could do both, but I can't do both because we have a member meeting on Wednesdays, and until I'm part-time, I have to be at that meeting, and there's definitely like pluses and minuses, and I work my butt off. I mean, there's days that is very, I wish I had a little extra time to be able to take advantage of, but
Love how they have the
I know.
suggested retail price.
Yeah.
I know. I
Yeah,
saw
you
that
want to
too.
buy it? You want to buy one for me? I think it's like 30. It's $20.
I hadn't put Canada.
Right.
Yeah. But that was a super easy thing. But I mean, there's tons of different options. But I would just say try to find something that you feel that you feel comfortable doing. And I mean, and you have so many things. I feel like a lot of times I don't have the time to do some of the things. I've been very lucky that a couple of my friends' parents have moved here. And that was 2 of my transactions this year. And one of them was not really a friend. It was my daughter did ballet, and it was a lady that she was the mother of one of the girls my daughter did ballet with. Her parents moved here.
Well, just to remind you, we don't get anything. We earn it. So
But
you
mother still had to know that you were a realtor or something.
right.
Yeah.
And they had to have, heard or seen that you're a professional and that you're knowledgeable and patient and all that. So you earned that. Don't make sure
Okay.
you take credit for that.
Okay.
So what advice do you have? Like, so did you guys kind of introduce everyone?
I think we
Introduce
knew,
themselves a little
well,
bit.
I knew Ryan. I met Ryan on, when we had our little award ceremony that day.
Okay. Yeah. So you've been in the business like what, 5, 6 months or so? Plenty of, a great network. We should all be pushing a little harder on the network. Same thing with Ashley, same thing, really same thing with everyone. How have you used your network strategically? Maybe give us some ideas on that.
I'm trying to think what.
Like when people know first of all, how are you telling people that you're an agent? And how are you communicating the value from a real estate standpoint consistently? And are you doing anything like, client events or, stuff for the kids, or like how are you getting out there and mingling with your people?
I don't think I've done as much as I should. I think that I've just had, because they've seen how hard I work, has been very easy for the transition. They know that I'm a work hard in real estate. So I don't know if I have done no events. Really, the one next on Sunday will be my first thing that I do for the fall festival. I participated in Red Day, which was like a Keller Williams, where we collected food last year, and I made flyers for that. Or I think we had flyers, but I printed them, put them around the neighborhood, and I collected food for that. So little things like that I've done, but I'm trying to think back what I've done, and
it all.
Emails, right?
No, I really I've helped a few other agents that has really helped me, like Bridget Rickey.
Yep.
Y'all know I helped Peggy, but Bridget, so Bridget had texted me. She had gotten my number from, I guess, Peggy or from someone that knew I worked, and she said, "Can you go show a house in Winder?" And I was like, I don't even know where Winder is. So I looked it up. It was an hour away. I was like, well, I could. So I said, sure, no problem. And she said, they're out of town. And so I drove to Winder. It was an hour away. And I called the lady. She knew she said, can I FaceTime you? She goes, oh, I'm sorry. I don't have a phone that has FaceTime. I was like, well, how the heck am I going to show her this house? So I videoed it, and I had to send the video. And then she had one of those phones that you buy at the grocery store. And so come to find out, these people only had $250,000 max to spend on a house. And
good thing they were comfortable in Winder.
well, they weren't. It was, the pictures looked misleading. So when I went to the house, it was the kitchen cabinets were white 8.5 by 11 paper that was taped to look like it was nice, but it was, so I went and I was like, and I left and I said, after I showed her, I'm like, okay, so like the cabinets are paper, like it's paper with tape. And I am pointing out everything. And so, anyways, I left there and she said, and Bridget said, if you help them, I want 25% referral. And I said, okay. So it wound up being a complete, these people from Nigeria, he was a missionary. They lived in Boise, Idaho, and they had to move here for their son's school. And she had to be out of their place for when she had 3 days. And I drove to Fayetteville, Loganville, Lawrenceville, Winder. I saw 27 homes for them. Every single home was over an hour from my house. And I worked 2 jobs and I did it. And I found a house for her. And it was the perfect house, but it was $5,000 more. It was $255. And the lender, I was talking to the lender continuously, and he said, you can't go over $250. And so I begged him, please, $255. And he said, okay. And so
It's like $2 or something over.
but he said $250. Honestly, Kathy, she met with her and she declined that. She said we can't do loan. So I knew how significant, like if Kathy's saying no, but this other lender was willing to, I was like, well, and so anyway, this lady thinks I'm this God sent person to her, and I'm going to their house Friday night for dinner. And it was, it was very rewarding, but like, that's how hard I will work. And you better believe that she would recommend me to anybody, because she knew no one, she had gone through several agents and no one gave her the time of day. And
There's a lot of agents that won't work at low price points.
yeah, and
Especially
I was still
spread out
having
like
to,
that, if you can't get credit.
and I was having to get 25% to bring was for that. Was doing that. So I mean, that's just my,
You have a favorite group.
if that helps, like, understand, like, I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to go as far as I need to go.
Are you collecting testimonials or video testimonials in any way?
So I've been very, like, that's not my expertise, but I have a Google business page, and I think that's been a big thing. And I have 8 reviews. I've had a couple reviews that they put on, but they don't ever come on. I don't know why. I can't figure it out. You have to, and I've tried calling Google, and I can't, it's hard to talk to them. And so I've had a few extra that just aren't on there, but I've been doing that, like, for,
And you could share them in a lot of different places. You could share on, I mean, not that you don't know this,
no, tell me,
Facebook,
because I probably don't know.
Instagram. You could put a little link on the bottom of your email signature that says, hey, click here to see what, some of my favorite clients have said about me, or something like that, about the experience of working with me.
Okay.
Something
Yeah.
of that
All my books.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and it's, so when I met with this lady yesterday, and I was doing a Facebook ad, I've never done a Facebook ad, but she's doing a Facebook ad for, it was $35, it was $5 a day for a week. So we'll see what that does for me. But I didn't know how to move all my testimonials from my Google business page to that. And so she was sharing my screen, and while for this 1 hour call, my daughter had the blowout of the tire. I had 3 other clients and a lender all texting me at the same time, and she's seeing it at the top of my screen because it was sharing. So she sees me just keep hitting delete, and or decline. And so at the end she said, so I need you to copy and paste. And she was telling me what to do. And I said, I can't do it till this evening before I go to bed. I promise I will. And she said, I'll do it for you. And so this lady, I don't even know who she is, but she did all my stuff because she saw how busy I was.
Right.
So anyway,
What are going to be your numbers this year?
you weren't in here when I said, so when I won the Rookie of the Year, somebody asked me what my
GCI was.
GCI was, and I said I have no idea, and I still haven't added it up. So I honestly have no
Okay.
idea. I think I'm about to have 9 transactions, and I have 3 that are all in the works that are all gonna probably happen as soon as I find something. Like, we're approved, ready to go. But 2 of them just happened this weekend. And one of them was a client that just bought a home this summer, and now he wants another home. And so
Nice.
that's
To move or just
to move. He wants to rent his, he's from India, and that culture, it seems like it's very important about school districts. And his is a 7 out of 10, but his friend that I sold is a 9 out of 10. So he wants to be a 9 out of 10. So whatever. So
Was it a 9 out of 10 when he bought it?
no, he knew. We went through 7 homes that we lost. This was in June when the market was really crazy, and we kept getting outbid. We were the second one for everyone. And so he had to settle for, I said, this probably you're not gonna hit everything
Tell him
you
what'll
want.
happen to those kids being at a 7 out of 10.
I know, it's really sad. But what was funny is it really, like, test scores in college and all that was 9 out of 10, but it's diversify, whatever it was, because it's not as mixed. It was like a 5 out of 10, so that dropped the numbers. It's so stupid, but whatever. For him, it's very important.
Yeah. Not
And
mocking
so,
it.
There's nothing in this
Yeah.
whole area. I'm like, could you just go to elementary schools? It's the same high school and the same middle school.
yeah, no, they're very much on. Yeah. So it's funny how they, but that's important
zero in on something.
to them. And so whatever. So now he's gonna rent his house and go buy another one. So
Yeah.
so I was out, and then he said, like, do you think we could see 6 homes on Sunday? I'm like, are you kidding? Like, I had to show for Peggy Connors, I show some of her stuff when she can't. And she had a boy that goes to Georgia Tech that needed a condo. and I had never shown condos, and you have to like go to the, it's
It's a whole
different. It's a
ordeal.
whole nother thing. And I didn't know.
Especially in town.
So you have to go to the concierge and give them your card and your license, and then they give you a box, and then you get the key, and then you have to like return all that. So she sent me like 17 of
And
them.
finding parking.
So I mapped it out, and I showed 14 condos in one afternoon, starting at 1 o'clock on a Sunday. And this poor kid that I was showing him to was so exhausted. And so I was saying, I showed,
You outwork the buyer.
did I ever, but this kid is at Georgia Tech. He's in the Olympics for Turkey for skiing. He's in the Winter Olympics in February, he leaves. And he had to keep like sitting down. And I'm like, get up. so I wasn't, so it was, you know, I'm pretty much like that. Though. And he kept like trying to sit. I was like, like we have 14 to see. There's no break. And so, and we saw all 14. So when this man asked me if Sunday I could show 6, I was like, are you kidding? And at 5, he goes, Steph, do you think we could take a coffee break? And so I think that's, you know, I have to learn to slow down a little bit for, you know, and you have to pay attention. I mean, there's obviously some people can't handle that, but
Your fitness level is much superior to
helps
the.
to-
Especially that we got the Olympics.
I know, that's what I thought. Seriously, you're 19. He's actually
18-year-old Olympian, come on.
he was 18 and he had moved here. His parents live in Turkey. I mean, he's here by himself, and they were buying him a condo. So anyway, so I would say it helps too. Like I've been very fortunate, like find an agent that's really busy and help them. I mean, because that's been beneficial.
Not only do you get to see, you know,
Learn.
their side of the business and how prospects come to them and the systems that they're using and the way they speak to their people and what they say yes to and what they say no to, you get a chance to watch it all. And oftentimes you can get the overflow.
And so that's been very helpful to just and like, I mean, I'm so fortunate I get to, and you live there, but I'm in your neighborhood all the time. When, you know, whenever she's not available, I show things for her. So
Peggy.
for Peggy.
Yeah.
And you know, and then I get a little piece of it. So it's been nice to just get a little extra money. But
What's been your, let's say you had an audience of relatively new agents. What would be your first thing that pops into your mind from an advice standpoint? What do you think that
I'd say get your
primary
systems in
things?
place, like know the contracts, understand, like, because I have a really hard time selling something if I don't feel confident. So have y'all had a transaction yet? Like no? Okay, have you yet? How many have you had?
Well, I got my license 10 years ago.
Okay, I thought so, like,
I've had 4.
okay, yeah, so you know, like, you know how to write a contract and stuff. I would just say, like, I was really nervous at first, like, oh my gosh, like, what if I do get this, and how, like, so I would just pretend. And for me, because I feel like my time's so limited, like at certain times I knew, like, oh my gosh, if they like this house and we have to write a contract, like, do I know what I'm doing? So I would write the contract ahead of time. I didn't tell them, but I would write the whole thing. I have it all ready before like, if I think it's potential, it's all ready to go. And
Yeah,
it's just a easier, it's easier internally to know that I'm not scrambling around.
Yeah, I mean, there were literally times.
Write them out or you on
So I do it on command. I use
The templates.
I use command. I use DocuSign. I'm sorry. My brain, like, I use DocuSign. Do people still use that, Lou? Because when I came into it
Some
was
of the older agents do that just have not sat down and been willing to learn DocuSign, but the majority of them are using DocuSign.
DocuSign. Okay.
Yeah.
I use Remind.
Okay, and I have no idea how to use that. So
I fought with DocuSign for a year and I just don't.
okay. Well,
They-
since it was my first one, I think I didn't really have anything to compare it to.
Yeah, I felt like I was constantly fighting with it.
Okay.
It's just how I think and how my brain works.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so I use Remind.
And have you practiced at all with DocuSign? Okay, so you know what, like, so for me, that was a big thing. And then just like don't give up. Like, so many times, like through real estate or through training, there's been people that like I've met with and done like a free training session, and 3 years later, they call me and ask me to train. Like, don't just give up on the people. Like if you think, because you never know when they're coming back.
I got to laugh this morning because somebody said, I think Donna said she said the phrase like, I met this person in like February and they finally bought something, or
Yeah.
they finally, were willing to like, sign a PPA or something. And I'm like, February to August or October. I'm like, I got people I've been flirting with for 15 years that haven't done anything yet. Right. It's just, it's all perspective. Right. What were some of the things that you kind of struggled with a lot at the beginning that you've kind of figured out? Like what kind of challenges would you say you've like overcome, or that you've kind of figured it out?
I was afraid to ask them to sign like an exclusive buyer's brokerage agreement because I was like, I don't know. It was hard for me to do that. And now I'm not afraid at all because I'm like, I know how hard I work. And if you want someone that works this hard, like, I don't want you like getting it from one agent and another agent. So I think just I have the confidence in myself to now say, like, I found out one lady that I was showing homes was showing someone else. She had another agent because I asked her right away, I asked for their lender's information. And I called the lender and the lender's like, she has someone else like listed, like, or it was something happened. I can't remember the exact, but anyway, I called her out like, and I said, hey, if you're going to work with me, I'm only going to sign an exclusive buyer. And so she wound up signing it, and she apologized because she was kind of like, she was talking to me, but she was talking to someone else. And I didn't trust her at first.
And like you say, you're smart, you're a hard worker, you're gonna do a great job, right? And you deserve that exclusivity.
Yeah. And so that was, I had another one, like it was someone that in Fayetteville that I was given the lead from a family member, and they were like, it was a million plus home. And so that was a big deal for me if I could get that. So I really tried, and I met with them, and it took like 8 or 9 months of like emailing. I gave him my book. He read my book, and it was very much like, and they would have, I think they really would have chosen me if I was in Fayetteville, but I wasn't. And he said to Stephanie, the reason we didn't choose you is because you're so far away. And I said, but I don't mind driving. And he said, I know, but we've, so they chose, so it was hard. Like, I knew I did everything I could to try to get that listing, and I didn't let anything fall through the cracks. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it my best shot.
You're like $30,000 commission. I'll rent an apartment for 2 months.
Yeah, I could, but then I couldn't get to my other one. But like little things like, so I like these people were having a family reunion, and one of the gifts I give is this like a Lazy Susan or a tray, and it has engraved in the bottom, it has your name, and it says Keller Williams. And so I sent them for their family, they were having a family reunion. I sent them a tray like before it, like to use, but I mean, so that was $100 that went down the drain. I didn't get
You'll get a
listing.
call at one point in the
But
future.
he knows how much and he kept saying, like, I always followed up every week, and I would, and I do think they would have chosen me if I had lived closer.
I wanted to say this a second ago with respect to pre-writing the contracts. I think that changes the way you approach the time together. Like there were plenty of times before we started working together where, I would go and look at a couple of properties and it'd be like, 6:30 at night. And I'm like, I really hope they don't like any of these, because I don't want to spend the next like 3 hours doing real estate stuff. I want to stop. Right. And that's when I knew that was not a healthy mindset. And if I had to do some pre-work, because if I had the pre-work done, I might have been a little bit more assertive and, hey, do you guys want to, put together an offer? I would have behaved differently, because it was a different level of commitment that I had to make once we parted ways. And especially for agents that have not done a lot of paperwork, it also gives you a chance to say, hey, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing a buyer's brokerage agreement with these people in 2 weeks. I've already pre-written it. Can you take a peek at it? Or, hey, I found out this is a conventional buyer, so I'm going to go ahead and write all the terms. Can somebody take a look at this so that they can verify that everything is clean and you can understand why you're filling it out a certain way. And then when you're there, you got no stress because it's already done, right? And then it just becomes a 5-minute project rather than a 3-hour project.
Because it takes a while, like from start to finish. It's not easy. And having a relationship with the lender, I think, is key. Like with putting in these offers, because that's very important to me to be able to contact them and for them to respond right away. And I let them tell me what financial terms they need, of how many days for financial contingency, how much for appraisal, all that stuff. So I think communication is just a huge part of it. One of the things I guess I struggle with too is just the inventory is so small, and I'm such a honest person when it comes to like my partner. She's always like, oh my gosh, why do you point out all this stuff? Like, just don't tell them the stuff. Like, because I had a few buyers that were from out of town and they never saw the home until closing, and that was a very much a challenge. So it was on my shoulders of, so I would point out every little crack and every single thing in that house on FaceTime. I didn't I was like showing the floor, like, here's dog scratches and here's
Oh, I
this.
think that's critical.
Absolutely.
They don't need your.
And so, and there was many of them that I walked out of and said, nope, nope, it smelled like, I just like, and so it was like, just knowing, like, you, it's hard.
That's why we can't do it with just pictures. And I tell buyers all the time, it's not what they show, it's what they don't show.
And I think that's the same concept. Is like, they don't need any of us to show them where the kitchen is.
Yeah.
Like, they could pretty much figure that out. They need us to show them things like synthetic stucco and floors that are, all the stuff that that they're going to find out eventually about.
And I see all that stuff. So I have just I think it's OCD, but I'm very much like can see all of it. So I'm like, so I point it all out.
Yeah.
And they do, then they trust you.
100%.
But so that's been, that was very hard though, not knowing, are they going to like this house? Like when they got there, I was really nervous.
Well, not to go way off target here, but y'all probably saw the article a few days ago in the news, right?
No.
Which article?
Oh,
My husband said that. It drives me nuts. I'm like, I've read many articles.
I haven't watched the news, so probably not.
oh no, I think there was an agent, I think it was in like somewhere in Virginia maybe, and he helped a out-of-town buyer buy. The out-of-town buyer showed up to do the final walkthrough before closing, and the guy killed his realtor and then killed himself.
Oh, yeah, the 84-year-old guy, yeah.
Wow. No,
This
I
is out
didn't
on
read
like
that.
the home, so he killed the realtor and killed himself.
Okay.
There are
And I love that app, Forewarn. I don't know if y'all have used it, but I use it. I don't know if you're even supposed to. I use it just to look when I'm going to find someone's phone number. So I use it more of like, instead of using the search thing, if you put their name in, fast people search. I use that instead. I use it for
That's
everything.
better.
It's very accurate. And so that's been a great. I think we pay for it. Oh yeah, be careful. Because you can see things you don't want to. You shouldn't see.
Stop. What's your date's first and last name, please?
Yeah. Yes, that will be.
That's funny.
But Forewarn's been a very good. I think. Do you use that?
Did we get it through the office like 12 a month or
I mean, it's worth every penny of it.
Yeah.
Because
$12
I
a
use it, and I do use it for that, for safety stuff. But I use it for just like you can put in someone's name and you get their every address they've had, every car they have. I love this. Go. What homes they've owned and how much they were and how much their loans were. All that's on there.
Yeah, Peggy called me a couple of years ago, and she's like, she had a listing in Country Club South, and I was TL, and she says, something just didn't sit right with me, and this guy wants to show me this, wants me to show him this home. Can you look him up? And I looked him up. That dude had just gotten out of jail for like
Yeah, I remember I
aggravated
was training
sexual
her
assault.
and she had come. She was freaked out at the
Yeah.
gym and about it.
So I mean, I want to obviously be respectful of your time. It looks like, I don't know if anyone else is going to be popping in for the second
No, I
half of
know.
this.
This is a different group.
Well, I had in mind that I had a scheduling issue with the other person, with the other guest. And I think people were just probably hanging out at the team meeting. So I don't expect anyone else to come. So I don't want to hold you beyond
I'm fine
what you're
with
planning
whatever,
for, but you
y'all
know,
need.
I've been asking most of the questions. Do you guys have anything that you'd like to ask? Anything that's on your mind?
Everybody on the ALC and mentors can ask questions, you know, when they come up, because they always come up at 7 o'clock on
And
Saturday.
Pam's a great person to call. I've called her many a time for,
And the thing I have enjoyed with Stephanie is she has read the contract. She knows the question. I have agents call me one day to sit there and talk to them. And what I mean is come meet with her in the office with her while she entered a listing. I'm like, I'm sorry, I cannot do that. Yeah, I mean, it's like, if I did that for every new agent,
yeah, you'd be, that's all you do.
yeah.
Yeah, it's being resourceful.
Yeah, one thing I would say though, like a thing that I really have struggled with is like when I'm training, I can't answer the phone. And so that's been a big thing for me. So I changed my voicemail fairly recently because I was trying to figure out what to do because I was struggling with both things. And I had 4 contracts under all at once. So I had 4 different things going on here and then trying to do that full time. So I changed my voicemail to say I return all calls and texts between 2 and 5 p.m. I just say, hi, it says like the Stephanie with Keller Williams Realty Consultants. I'm with clients right now, but please leave a message and I'll call you back between 2 and 5 p.m. And that's helped me to just know.
Right.
Yeah, but knowing that
You truly are with clients.
yeah, and I am with clients, so I'm not lying. I'm with clients, just with a different client. But like that has just helped me, and I also have it like saved on my for my text messages, so I can just hit paste. And so it's like it's just a quick, easy thing that I can just let people know when I'm going to call them back. And I think that's the important thing. Like even though like,
You know, you can do shortcuts.
what do you mean? You can show me after if you want.
Yeah,
Well,
come,
I-
come
y'all
see
have
me
a-
when this is over. What's a shortcut?
Unless y'all want to know.
No.
Shortcuts are gonna,
She always helps.
well, shortcuts will save your life. You go to, I think it's.
Make sure you get this.
Oh, general listing. Hang on one second. Let me tell you what a shortcut is. A
Yeah, tell us
shortcut
what it is first.
For example, if I type in PSKW, what actually pops up in my text or in my email or whatever I'm doing is Pam Slager, Realtor, KW, Roswell.
Oh, wow.
So you just have, you type in a little abbreviation for it.
And it knows the whole thing.
Yeah,
Like if I wanted my text to say, I'm with clients right now, I'll return your call between 2 and 5, how would would my shortcut just be KW?
but whatever you want it to be that you're not going to use in another way.
Like in another
You wanna
word.
say, because then
Yeah,
it will-
So it would have to be like,
X, Y, Z, you never use that.
Well, that could
Right.
just be a like a, what do you call it? Like a text signature part.
Yeah, but I didn't want it going out with every freaking.
Right.
okay, no,
It's like, yes, end of story.
Yeah.
I have it under notes, so I just copy paste and it's really quick. But like I would just say, like just communicate with people is a big thing.
Be glad we're not LA. This realtor has started. I thought I heard that in Mariana. Blurred out parts, but I'm like, and you just also said that. There's nothing else. And then I've seen that. But the guy that was, he's standing at the window back. You're like,
Yeah, who would go with me?
I've seen things where like the person will put like a little like, you know, like a little picture of like a dinosaur or something like that in like the corner
Oh,
of
there.
all the, right, picture of the family room with the dinosaur.